Munchies! Hello, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm Alyssia if you're new. I am so happy today.
Why?
Because it's a fall day. My favorite season and one of my favorite ingredients is pumpkin. Today I'm going to share 5 fun and healthy pumpkin recipes, and if you're as nuts about the season as I am, then I'm sure you're gonna love them. In my recent fall Starbucks drinks episode, in the comments you guys all overwhelmingly request a pumpkin spice latte. I've actually made a PSL before, but I wanted to update the recipe to use a syrup like we did with the cinnamon dolce syrup in the last episode, so today I'm showing a revamped PSL recipe. For this pumpkin spice syrup recipe, you will need canned pumpkin, water, coconut sugar, erythritol, or any sweetener of choice you prefer like stevia, or even regular granulated sugar would work, cinnamon sticks, ground cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, or if you don't have it, you could just mix cinnamon, ginger, allspice, and nutmeg, and vanilla extract. Add all of your ingredients into a pot over medium heat. Mix to combine and allow to come to a boil. Once nice and thick, remove your cinnamon sticks. Then grab a large bowl and a fine strainer. Pour your mixture into the strainer and allow it to strain into the bowl below. Then it will be nice and smooth. If you want to skip this step, you can, but straining it will help the syrup integrate a little bit better into your PSL. Grab a bottle. I love this glass bottle, but any will do, and pour in your pumpkin spice syrup, seal it up, and refrigerate or use immediately. Now this syrup will last a few weeks in the fridge and is delicious on absolutely anything, but when you're ready to make your latte, add your milk of choice. Make sure it is a non-dairy milk if you're looking for a vegan latte, strong brewed coffee or espresso, and your pumpkin spice syrup to a pot over medium heat and whisk to combine. Once nice and hot, remove from the heat and serve. Top it off with whipped cream or coconut whipped cream for vegan and a dusting of pumpkin pie spice. Yum! Thumbs up if you're a PSL fan. Next, we're gonna make my pumpkin bread. For this recipe, you will need canned pumpkin, oat flour, coconut sugar, erythritol or sweetener of choice, egg whites, cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, vanilla, baking powder, baking soda, salt, and pecans. Add all of your ingredients except for your pecans into a large mixing bowl and mix well to combine. Then add your chopped pecans and fold them on in. Line a loaf pan with foil and spray and pour in your bread mix. Even it out, and I like to top mine off with some pumpkin seeds. Bake in an oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 35 to 40 minutes or until nice and golden brown on top. If you're worried about it browning too much on top, cover with foil about halfway through. Allow to cool completely before slicing and enjoying. The beauty of this recipe is it can also be made as muffins. Simply spray down your muffin or mini muffin tin and use a cookie scoop to fill it on up with your mixture. Bake again at 350 degrees Fahrenheit, but this time for only 15 to 20 minutes and allow to cool before popping them out. Yum! The perfect little pumpkin bite. How about a savory pumpkin dish? Let's make my pumpkin curry. For this recipe, you will need pieces of chicken breast, canned pumpkin, canned tomatoes, vegetable broth, coconut milk, onion, cauliflower, celery, carrots, zucchini, garlic, salt and pep, curry powder, garam masala, cumin, cinnamon, ginger, and turmeric. Add all of your ingredients into your slow cooker except for the zucchini. Mix to combine. Now I like to cut the zucchini into long strips with my mandolin so they are like noodles and lay those on top so that they don't break with the mixing. Allow to cook on low for about 6 to 8 hours. Now if you are in a time pinch, you could do 3 hours on high, but the flavor and texture will be much more pleasant low and slow. I recommend making this in the morning and then it'll be all cooked by the time you get home. Once baked, remove the lid and mix well to combine. Then you'll want to remove your chicken and shred it like so. Once shredded, transfer back to the slow cooker and mix it on up. Yum! Now there's nothing left to do but serve and devour. I honestly think this dish is even better the next day as leftovers after it's had time to sit. It is so good. Now this recipe is actually from my fall seasonal recipes ebook. I've got 25 recipes using fall seasonal ingredients in there, and yes, quite a few pumpkin ones. So if you're interested in some more healthy fall themed recipes, you can check that out at mindovermunch.com/ebooks, and if you use the code CURRY for the next 24 hours, you can get 10% off any of my ebooks or packages. Alright, now on to one of my favorites, my lightened up pumpkin cheesecake. For your cheesecake filling, you will need canned pumpkin, light cream cheese or Neufchâtel cheese, Greek yogurt, eggs, egg whites, coconut sugar, erythritol or sweetener of your choice, oat flour, cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, vanilla, and salt. For your cheesecake crust, you will need mixed nuts, pitted and soaked dates, and cinnamon. cinnamon. Add your nuts to a food processor and blend them on up just until they become crumbly, not to a butter. Then add your cinnamon and dates into the food processor and blend once again, mixing until it's nice and sticky and will hold together when pressed. Transfer the crust mixture into a sprayed springform pie pan and press the bottom to cover. Set aside while we make the filling. In a large mixing bowl, add your cream cheese, yogurt, coconut sugar, salt, and erythritol. Use a hand mixer to whip it up to combine. Then add your pumpkin, egg whites, eggs, and vanilla. Whisk it on up. Then lastly, we're going to add our oat flour, cinnamon, and pumpkin pie spice, once again whisking up to combine. And you can use any flour that you prefer here if you don't want to use oat flour. Pour your cheesecake filling on top of that crust in the pan. Bake in an oven preheated to 325 degrees Fahrenheit for 50 to 60 minutes until it's set but the center jiggles slightly. Allow to cool at room temperature until it's no longer warm, and then transfer to the refrigerator to chill for 8 hours or overnight. Once chilled, pop open the springform pan and cut out a nice slice. Yum! I like to top mine off with a little bit of coconut whipped cream and pumpkin pie spice. Okay, that was a delicious lightened up cheesecake, but I know I have a lot of vegan followers and I have had a lot of requests for a vegan cheesecake, so here it is. That's right, vegan pumpkin cheesecake. For this recipe, you will need raw cashews, canned pumpkin, maple syrup, vanilla extract, lemon juice, cinnamon, pumpkin pie spice, and salt. Place your cashews into a bowl and soak them in water for 4 to 8 hours. In your food processor, add in your soaked cashews and blend them on up until sort of a paste forms. Then add in the rest of your ingredients and blend again until you have a nice creamy cheesecake filling. Yum! Grab a muffin tin and pop in some liners. For the crust, you can either use the same crust we used in the previous cheesecake, or if you can find vegan ginger snaps, these make a clever crust for a muffin tin cheesecake. Place your ginger snaps into each liner and then use a large ice cream scoop to spoon your cheesecake filling into each one. Transfer to the oven and bake at 300 degrees Fahrenheit for about 20 minutes. Remove, allow to cool at room temperature, and then refrigerate for 4 to 8 hours or overnight. Once cool, simply pop them out, peel away the liner, and enjoy the most delicious little vegan cheesecake bite. So cool. Now I must admit, as someone who really loves cheesecake in its traditional full-fat form, this vegan cheesecake actually does taste like cheesecake, somehow. It is important to keep in mind that even though it uses clean ingredients and no dairy, which is great, it does still contain fat because of the cashews, so just be mindful of the serving size, which if you use the muffin tin, portion control is taken care of for you. Thumbs up if you enjoyed these pumpkin recipes. If you did enjoy, could you share it to your social? And if you try any of them out, tag me! You can find all of the recipes in the PDF in the description, and be sure to let me know which one you're most excited to try in the comments below. Remember, if you want my fall seasonal or any of my ebooks, I also have a Thanksgiving and Christmas ebook if you're interested. Check those out at mindovermunch.com/ebooks using that code for your discount. And I also share how to make your own pumpkin puree using a whole pumpkin if you prefer to make it and don't have access to the cans. Also, in case you missed the announcement last week, this week on Facebook we launched our dog food mini-series, so be sure to like our page at facebook.com/mindovermunch so you don't miss any of the healthy dog treats episodes. Okay, well that is it for today. I hope you have a wonderful week and weekend, and remember, especially when it comes to delicious fall foods, it's all a matter of mind over munch.